Just believe in yourself. Keep going
What are you,
at
Gary
it.
Vee, bro?
You know, I think they're in love with the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they see the backstage, the award shows, the girls, the money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're really in love with the idea,
The lifestyle,
the
yeah.
outcome and the lifestyle, whereas, you know, I just want you to feel the goosebumps I feel, and I really mean that. Oh yeah, we're working. I never told this story to anyone, but if you don't help someone purposely and you know you can, it's gonna come back to you. We're all going through this. You know, your artists are still here, your management team is still here. Really just thinking like, okay, take this time for us to build for that when life comes back, you come back super strong. Hey guys, it's Luca Fontaine and you're watching Lowkey MTL. Lowkey, come on. So I work for a artist management company called HOWRU Entertainment. It's a Montreal/LA based full service, pretty much talent management company from all sorts of talent. We have from electronic artists to writers to pop to hip hop to a lot of producers and composers as well. So my role in that company right now is definitely handling more the electronic artists and that whole side of the company, as well as very much, obviously with the lockdown, there's nothing happening, but I'm as well the tour manager. So really make sure that all the live events and all the live performers are properly handled, booked, advanced. I'll travel to also many locations with these artists so that they only have to focus on performing and nothing else, nothing like collecting payments, travel, who to contact at the venue, if my rider is okay and stuff like that. And I take a big role as well as an A&R. So basically finding whether it's new talent or developing talent, helping the creation of projects to make sure they're the best that they can be and really just create the magic, and we'll help create the magic, let's put it that way.
How did you start getting involved in all this? Did you always know like this is what you wanted to do?
I knew from a somewhat of an early age that I wanted to be in the entertainment, specifically music. When I was a kid, I really wanted to be a movie director. That was my first passion. I had all these scenarios in my head, and I was always with my toys and as if I was acting out movie trailers and stuff. But as time went along, I was, as most people are, just in love with music. Started becoming obsessing with music, where it really became everything I breathe and live. That's when I really got introduced slowly to electronic music at a pretty young age compared to most people these days. I mean, I'm 23, but I really started getting into it, you know, when I was maybe 11, 12. And then I started learning about these festivals around Montreal and in Montreal, and I was fascinated and really wanted to go. And you know, my parents, they trusted me. They knew I really loved it. It wasn't so much for the partying, whether it was getting messed up with substances. It was nothing about that. I was just a young, innocent kid who wanted to dance and just, you know, escape. And
Your parents are Italian?
my parents are Italian, so yeah, they also didn't understand it. You know, they're just like, oh, you know, it's music, whatever. So I started going to festivals and shows really young. I'm talking about 12 years old. I think I went to my first EDM show when I was 11. It was at the Metropolis. It was Deadmau5 playing. I went alone.
So you just found out about this event?
Yeah, and I think I was teaching kids how to skate, saved up some money. I worked all the odd jobs, and then I went to Escapade here in Ottawa when I was about 14. I remember it was a 16 plus festival, and I got a fake ID saying I was 16. I was 14. That was crazy.
Who'd you go to Escapade?
That first year, I went with my friend Walid Jabri. Shout out Walid. He was the only friend I can find to go with because none of my friends were allowed. So I started pretty much as a really big fan, a number one fan, as you can say. As I got older and as time came, I was having a really hard time in school because it was the only thing I could think of.
Did you ever think of getting into music production in general?
Yeah, so that's actually how it all started. I was having a really tough time in school because I couldn't focus. It was the only thing on my mind,
right.
Only thing I could talk about with my friends, only thing I do with my money, my time.
And you're talking about like these experiences you're having or like the industry in general?
Well, that's how it led to my foot in the industry because, you know, with all these festivals and shows, I really got to know what's the festival, who are the artists, this, that, the labels, this. So I just started really caring more also the behind the scenes. And as I got older, as I got into CJEP, that's when I had to make this my life. I couldn't focus on anything else. And that's when I started DJing and making music with my partner, Justin Pai. Shout out Justin Pai. So we had a great thing going. We were going to his house every Monday or something, just producing. My whole time at home, we were producing. It was my 24/7.
What program are you using?
We were using, I was using Logic Pro 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's a Mac software, right?
it's a Mac software, but I would always collaborate with other guys using other DAW, FL Studio, Ableton, Classics, and so started picking up a pretty, I would say, consistent DJ career. I remember specifically, we were DJing at a club one time, and we were on the radio. It was being broadcast on the radio, and we were just, our dream was always to make our own music, or my dream was always at least to make my own music, and really play what I want to play and have the crowd react to it. And a lot of these clubs and these events, you're very catered to the organizers, to the owners and whatever. Yeah. So I remember specifically I was at a club and we were DJing for the radio, and for the radio you can't just play anything. We had to really stick to a tight format, no swearing. It's really hard DJing live, think about it. It was just, and I remember I think we went on a little break outside and we were like, this is not what I like to do. This is not what, this is not why we started this. And from that moment on, we were like, no, I'm going to focus strictly on the studio, specifically making music. And then Amsterdam took a big role in my path because the electronic industry specifically is very big in the Netherlands, specifically in Amsterdam, with a lot of infrastructures, festivals, labels, a lot of artists, most of the artists, especially in the EDM scene, the DJs. So I started.
When did you go to Amsterdam?
So I spent a lot of time in Amsterdam actually that year specifically. Before that, I was big on these Facebook groups. Facebook had really strong, these EDM up and coming communities, very strong, not that you see them today. So a lot of these big guys you see at these festivals and stuff, they were all on those Facebook pages. And we were just sharing ideas, music from all over the world. And that was huge. We made some genuine connections and friendships. And so then Amsterdam, they have ADE, Amsterdam Dance Event, which I would say is one of the two biggest weeks in electronic music. The other one being Miami Music Week in Miami.
When does it happen usually?
So that one's in October-ish, October, November. And then there's Dance Fair, which is kind of like an ADE, but compiled in like a weekend, which is a little later in the year, right after Christmas, maybe beginning spring.
And it's all same genre?
Yeah, it's all about electronic music, and you have showcases, parties / one-on-ones with A&Rs, pitching your demos, master classes to learn. It's just everything, meet and greets, anything you can think of. So I spent a good amount of time there and went and really got connected, built some genuine friendships that I still use and talk to. Use is not the right word, but talk. Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, maybe some connections that I exploit more still to these days, and a lot of friendships that I cherish that have really helped me in my path. And so Amsterdam took a huge role, and that whole scene as a whole really helped me out. And
so then you went to Amsterdam because you found out about these music festivals?
So they weren't mainly festivals. It was mainly because all the labels, all the DJs, everything was just there. That's the hub.
And you're figuring this out through those Facebook groups?
Facebook groups, through just being a fan, through seeing all the DJs being Dutch, through interviews, I lived and breathed this 24/7. I knew everyone, who was the manager, who owns the label, who's this. I can name you. I was that guy.
So now you're planning a trip to go to Amsterdam, right? Yeah. And then who are you going with?
Solo. Alone.
Awesome.
I was working at a pizzeria here as a pizza delivery guy. I was the worst one at that too. Saved up all my money, went there. Really just got connected, went to these different, these dance fairs and stuff, these different...
How old are you now?
17.
Okay.
Yeah, 17. Yeah, not even 18. So Amsterdam, met a lot of people working with these big labels like Spinning Records, Revealed, all of that. So then basically, it was time, I had my fun there, but it was time for me to come back home to Montreal and really try to figure out and build what I wanted to do, and I wasn't in school at the time. So then I came back and I found this music program at Trebus here that I thought was really appealing to me. It was named Music Business Administration. So it was everything learning about how record labels work, how management works, touring, all that. And I was fascinated by the idea. So right when I came back from Amsterdam and spending time there.
How long is the program?
It's about a year and a half.
Okay.
So it's a very intensive year and a half, all summer, all winter, no Christmas, like a 1 week Christmas break. It was cool because you're really surrounded by like-minded people and just very hungry and passionate.
Yeah, because now at that point your goals are more specific. It's like very niche, right?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even have a very specific goal at the time. I just knew I wanted to be in this world. I was still trying to, I was still making music and wanting to do that. And you know what? I was really just trying to find myself and develop my passion into something very tangible. And basically when I started school, the timing worked out perfectly because I started working at Evenco here in Montreal. So for those who don't know, Evenco, one of the biggest concert promoters in Canada, the biggest one in Quebec. So started working for them through some foot in the doors connections that I've built up by just putting myself out there and asking the right questions and learning, on my own free time. So I started.
How did you get that Evenco job? How did you find that job?
I went to a concert and I was on a guest list and I was late to the show. They closed the guest list at that time. The only way for me to get in, they had to call the ticketing office boss and bring me to the office for me to give the ID. I took her contact, just kept in touch, and then I just reached out. I was like, hey, look, this is what I do. This is what I like. I'd love to, get an opportunity and learn more. I think I'd be great to actually provide value and do a good job. And they tested me out at a venue at the Corona Theater first. Testing period is very just like training.
Okay.
Basically, I was shadowing someone.
You're just scanning tickets though?
No, I'm pretty much running the door, hence working the box office. A lot of people think that's just selling tickets, but it's not. So let's say your ticket doesn't scan, you come see me.
Right.
There could be fraud, there could be, let's say you don't know, you lost your ticket.
Mm-hmm.
It could be also things like the tour manager needs 20 tickets for the artist's guest. So the people who do scan, you're also in charge of scanners you have. So you're running the door, hence working the box office. Mm-hmm. And you're also working for other shows too, At the same time, there can be the guest list demands for future shows, but so you're doing that at the same time, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing all that behind this.
Oh yeah. It's a whole operation. Mm-hmm. And so basically, I started doing that. It was going really well. And then started Corona, then started at Metropolis. And then as time went on, I started picking up more roles, then started also at L'Astral. Then I started also helping out with production. So then I was running also the guest list. So I was, the one in charge giving the artist passes, their guest passes, the photographers. A lot of photographers would come see me, and I give their right accreditations, and basically started doing that. Also at the festivals. So throughout the year, my year looked like I was in school, music school, and then I would work all these venues. And in the summer, it was festival season, and the festivals. I was pretty much more working in the hospitality, so artist liaison, pretty much driving artists on golf carts.
Every time I see you at a festival, you're always in a golf cart.
You're bringing them to the stage, helping them with logistics, whether it's in the artist world and their catering, and just really helping out. Like you mentioned, it's I think 90% of festivals, you're on a golf cart with an artist.
Are you trying to make the connections there too, obviously?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm trying to because I'm employed with Evenco and I have a job to make sure that the artists are really there, feel comfortable, feel at home, and also, can get their performance right. So sure, whether I'm a small pawn in the big operation or not, I'm really focused on delivering the best that I can be to make sure the festival runs naturally. There's something I say a lot in the industry, and it's you don't really want to. You don't want to chase to make connections. You want to build friendships, and of course, yes, connections are important. And what I mean by that is you want to really develop genuine relationships. Whether there are people that can help you out in your business or whatever it is, it has to click on a personal level. That's just something I really believe in.
Yeah, that's true. Even for you, as Luca, you want to be able to connect with the person in order to do work with them in the future, right?
Yeah. It's exactly that. And it's also I'm not trying to ask for anything in return. I'm trying to just, vibe out, have a good time. And of course, I ask a lot of questions. a lot of these artists, you know, and something I've noticed too, a lot of people are shy to ask questions to these professionals, to these artists, but it's the opposite. Think about it. They're master in their craft, so it's they love talking about it, you know, because it's a sense of pride to them, you know. So a lot of artists, a lot of managers, because that's the thing, a lot of these festivals, I didn't just meet artists, I would meet a lot of agents, managers, label heads.
So that's what I was wondering, is that how you started like narrowing down what you wanted to do more?
So yeah, actually, so after the whole Amsterdam trip and really just being connected with all these DJs and stuff, I really got a passion for the business side of things, the behind the scenes, and hence that's what I was learning in school, right? So a lot of people ask me if music school is worth it. I actually say, I have a very specific answer. I tell them it is worth it if you're already involved in the industry somehow. Doesn't have to be the biggest thing, but you don't go to music school and then just come out expecting like a job, you know?
Right.
I was already at Evenco. I had already had these connections, friendships.
Yeah, you're kind of back engineering, like.
Yeah, I already had somewhat my foot in a door, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why when I was at school and I was learning all about these subjects, whether it's about publishing, royalties, touring, whatever it is, you know, and when I'm at these festivals and at these concerts and I'm talking to these professionals, it just gave me a sense of credibility. I know what I'm talking about and I'm asking the right questions. And then I relate to it back to what I'm learning in school. So I'm mixing that, the education, but also with the real life experiences. So that really helped me personally a lot. And as Evenco went by, like I said, started doing odd jobs with them too, started becoming friends with the production managers and stuff, so then they would help me out on a few tours. So that's when I started also tour managing and felt a passion for that. So just going around with the artists, like I mentioned, making sure that they just have to perform. That's the long story short version of things. And I will get into what a tour manager really does.
But in Montreal specifically, I feel like a lot of artists love coming here, but and I feel like a lot of that has to do with like what you do, like the hospitality aspect of it.
Yeah, it's actually really funny because wherever I travel in the world or with artists and whoever I talk to, and I say I'm from Montreal, they always go, "Oh, that's where the festival where the food is," and they say that because Evenco's festivals, Oshiaga, Ilsinic, Heavy in Montreal, we put so much pride, energy, infrastructure into our catering for the artists.
Oh shit, okay.
Shout out Danny Smiles and Chuck Hughes. We hire them. Pretty sure that they also own the Bremner and a bunch of different restaurants. And oh man, eating at backstage. That's one thing I suggest if ever you're backstage at a Evenco festival, just go eat. And who knows if you'll be back there again. You want to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And it's really good. So yeah, we do put a lot of effort into the hospitality for the artists.
Well, I don't know if this is a thing that happens, but like B12 shots and like stuff like that for the artists.
Yeah.
So,
So a lot of artists also, they have what's called a rider.
Okay.
So on your rider, it's basically a document. So once I book an artist, that comes with my rider. So let's say I book an artist, he's $10,000, but then he sends me his rider, and a rider is basically divided in two. You have a technical rider and a hospitality rider. So a technical rider is basically what you need to perform on stage. Equipment, backline, direct inputs with front of house, your visuals, everything that, and you know, sometimes you don't have that in-house and you have to outsource. So it's, you know, playing with the cash flow.
Does that include like camera and everything?
No, that's more like on your accreditations.
Okay.
So that's more of like who you're traveling, your traveling party.
Okay.
And once you're the artist, you know, you pretty much have all the access. So your camera guys, all
Right.
There's different camera guys. There's in-house camera guys at shows who shoot for the venue or the magazines or the concert promoters. Yeah. And then there's the camera guys with the artist party, food-wise and stuff like that. So then you have your hospitality rider, and that's anything for you to help you, make you feel more at home at your show. That's where you'll see a lot of the alcohol, the beer, you know, the classic, a bottle of Goose and 12 beers, or, you know, it could be anything. Some of our artists that we work with, they have t-shirts, socks, it could be batteries. I think the weirdest one I've ever seen was, I can't name the artist, obviously, but he asked for a pet. Just a pet in the backstage area.
Any pet?
Yeah.
Any animal?
A pet, brackets, a domestic pet, brackets, preferably a dog, and a local politician, so he can speak real estate. That was really hard to find. But
that's interesting.
I mean, that's
a smart way of using your resources.
I mean, yes and no. I don't, it's more of like an original, creative way. It's funny.
Is he trying to stand out, you think?
No, I think what he's trying to do is make sure we actually read his demands.
Oh, okay.
And not make sure we go over the contract.
Like testing you guys.
To a certain extent.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, just to be funny, to a certain extent, we're allowed to redline.
Yeah.
So hence means like, you know, if we can't, I'm sure he'll still want to perform if we don't provide that. But that's a big thing too, when your rider is associated to your cost, your booking fee. Because let's say I book you for 10K, that's affordable. But then to perform your rider is another 10K. Ooh. Now you're in trouble. So a lot of people also do buyouts when it comes to food. So like, hey, instead of giving me my sandwich platters, my hot meal and stuff, just give me $200 instead.
Okay. And then that'll cover
and
their
then
cost.
You know what? Yeah, sometimes it's easier. Instead of us booking your hotel or your travel, just give us a buyout. Give us $1,000 instead and we'll deal with it. Easy. If it's in the budget, it works.
Have you ever went on tour with anybody?
Yes,
Okay.
I have. And but that's where it leads to my next step. So I was working at Evenco and with Evenco I should say, because Evenco it's really the offices and then we're owned by the HABs, so it's le Groupe des Canadiens de Montréal. So I technically work for le Groupe CH. From Evenco, with school, really started taking steps on my own, finding the talent out there, trying to help people out genuinely, not asking for anything in return, really just trying to like help my friends and also just artists that I'd see who I really believed in, kind of be their quote unquote manager. But you know, I also didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of like,
you're just like, let me help market yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had good resources. I had my knowledge from school. I had some experience seeing some of the biggest A-listers right in front of me and their managers, and so I was just like, you know what, I can do this, and I really believed in certain artists, and so I was like, you know what, I really want to share the emotions that I feel when I listen to your music to the others. You know, that's what's going to put the biggest smile on my face. So I started doing that, and how I got involved with HOWRU Entertainment specifically is that's my main venture right now. I was at a festival, Escapade, full circle, and I was backstage this time.
Okay.
Crazy how life works, right? I was backstage, and so there was an artist that I met in those Facebook groups from way back when. His name was Daniel, and basically a lot of this Facebook group, like I said, a lot of it was based in the UK, in Netherlands, Amsterdam, and there were only a few Canadians, hence me, Daniel, and actually another guy who I'm great friends with, and a well-known artist as well named Kesnowski, a very good DJ. Okay. And we were the only Canadians. So I started talking to this guy Daniel, and he was, he was great. I loved his music. I was such a big fan, and he was doing really well. Definitely better than anyone in that group. You know, he was kind of the rising star, and you know, we just kept in contact throughout the years. I was always just trying to help out, genuinely message on Facebook.
Does he have a manager at this point, or is he just making music?
Yeah, so then basically I was always trying to help him out, and you know, I'm like, hey, there's a show here, you should talk, you know, you should get in this. Oh, hey, you hear the song, you should do a sound like this, whatever it is.
Just like any kind of value you could give him.
Yeah, just, you know, I was just being genuine, you know, like more of a friend, to a certain extent, but I was just such a big fan. And so then that's when his artist name is DLMT, and that's when he actually got signed by, shout out Ben Eisenberg, who's my partner / more my boss, who brought me on to HOWRU. He started this company with two other guys, one from also here in Montreal, and then the other partner in Los Angeles. So they had started working together, and that's when we started really talking more heavily. And then Dan had a show here in New City Gas, and he invited me, and I went, and we finally met for the first time in person. You know, we were like these online friends, these DJ friends.
Oh shit, I didn't know that's how you met Dan.
Yeah, that's how we met. We met through Facebook, and then we clicked. He was playing at Escapade a couple months later. We said, yeah, we'll try to see each other there and hang out. You know, we were both backstage, we were hanging out, just talking and having a good time, you know, having a great weekend. It was also his birthday weekend. So then the day of his performance, I kind of acted as a tour manager, you know, just for fun. And in the end, it's funny because it's as if he almost needed one. A lot of things were going wrong. His visuals weren't at front of house. He hadn't gotten paid. All these little logistics.
So it's kind of like a right place, right time type of
Yeah, it was a right place, right time, but also I was ready for the opportunity.
Right.
But also it wasn't, I didn't overthink it like that. I just genuinely wanted my buddy Dan to have like a good show.
Right.
It was really just as simple as that. But I guess just my, you know, from my experience and my passion in this and my nature, I just kind of stepped up and was.
But looking back at that, now you're looking at it as like you being ready for that opportunity. Like whenever it came up, you were almost waiting for that opportunity to happen, and it just happened from like you genuinely wanting to help somebody?
You know what? I think it sounds cheesy, but I made this industry so much my life that it really was second nature. To that extent, I've been in it, or tried at least to be in it, to the point where I know what I'm doing. And I don't mean that by saying I know everything. I really don't. I'm also still a work in progress and learning.
No, but you've definitely made sacrifices in order to be more in that space, right?
Oh yeah, big sacrifices. So like, actually the biggest of sacrifices coming up right now. So basically it was Dan's birthday, and so yeah, he did a great show, super awesome, you know. I ended up doing a good job making sure, helping out that the show, you know, that the show goes on.
Yeah.
And his managers, hence Ben and Corey, also I think were pretty impressed with me, and you know, it was cool. And I really wasn't trying to gain anything, right? It was really just natural. It really was.
Yeah.
So then it was his birthday weekend, and I remember specifically the whole squad went to go eat supper for his birthday, and then I was like, and he had just released a song on Chami's label, just that year, and it still is one of the biggest songs on the label, and I was like, dude, like, I can't go with you. I gotta tell Chami you're here. Like, I gotta just, like, Chami being my favorite too, you know. Yeah. I was like, sorry, bro, like, your birthday's cool, but I can't miss Chami's set. They all go have dinner, and I'm backstage just on the side, just watching Chami and all, just having fun. And then right when Chami finishes, he's walking out the stage, I just rush towards him. And this is when Dan's finishing dinner and he gets back to the festival. And Chami's French, right from France, and I just go up and I say in French, and I go, hey, Martin, that's his first name. I go, hey, Martin, je suis avec DLMT ici, tu sais, la chanson One Drink, il vient juste de jouer, j'aimerais que vous vous rencontrez. I'd love for you guys to meet and stuff. And he just, you know, stops and looks, and he's like, yeah, of course, like, I'd love to, you know. And he ended up bringing us on tour later, eventually. But I think that's how the guys at HOWRU Entertainment really took me seriously and was like, okay, this kid's got something. And we sat down, and they were like, we'd love for you to join the team. At the time we were like 4, now we're 12. You know, and I was always trying to do things on my own, trying to, you know, bring these artists from nothing to something all on my own. And I really talked to myself, and I really thought, you know what, I'm not really an entrepreneur. I see myself more as the best employee. I need a bit of push direction, and then I'll execute, and I won't stop, you know. And I was telling this to the guys, and I think that's why it really worked out. We had a really good synergy, and also my passion for the electronic music and for music in general. I know I talk a lot about electronic, but that was just my starting, you know.
Yeah, that was your way into the industry. So
yeah, it really was like my roots. I know it's a relatively like early, it's a relatively new genre in the traditional sense of things, but it really was where I started it all. And
when you were doing, like, you know how you said you didn't feel as an entrepreneur, but is that because you were aiming to be like your own management team type of thing? You wanted to start, you wanted to start your own company almost?
To a certain extent.
Okay.
I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And in the direction that I was going to, it did kind of translate like that. And you know what? I still wasn't sure, because I was still making music also, you know, for fun.
Right, yeah.
Wanting to tour, and still working at Evenco in school, and I was doing all these things at once. I didn't stop those things. The only things that stopped that is the pandemic. I'd still be working shows all year long. You can't fake the passion, and I think that's where you also do see the people who aren't able to, you know, go on in this industry. As you know, I think they're in love with the idea of it. You know, they see the backstage, the award shows, the girls, the money, you know, they're really in love with the idea, the outcome, and the lifestyle. Whereas, you know, I just want you to feel the goosebumps I feel, and I really mean that. And you know, that's my idea of making it.
Yeah, because I don't know, it sounds cheesy, but music is like a language of itself.
Yeah, and you know what? Especially personally, I just got I was always so emotional when I listened to music. I'd be jumping in my room, in my feels. You know what? And it's always been the healthiest sense of escape, but also a way for me to, you know, translate my emotions into a proactive way in this life, you know, and really be inspired to do good and to share the love. We love each other. You know, it's a big family, you know, and basically we all try to help each other out and just try to grow. And so, like I mentioned,
that's key for a strong team, to be like comfortable like that.
Yeah, it has to, you know, because, and we also have to, you know, we're our artists' #1 fans as well, you know. Of course, I'm not saying they know what's best for their music, but we're genuine fans as well. So I think we also have good input and also good guidance and direction. And we're really there to make sure that their art is being heard. And and also, if you want to think of it more on a business aspect, we can't make money unless they make money.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
That's our main incentive right there to a certain extent. Before COVID, we had a bunch of shows lined up.
So is this tour with Chami?
He did a Chami tour, yeah. You played with him in New York. We were supposed to do Chami in Miami. That was right in the middle of the pandemic, though. It got canceled, of course, during Miami Music Week, which is the other busiest week in the industry for electronic. Yeah, so we were supposed to go to Miami. We were supposed to do a Dim Mak takeover, also, which is Steve Aoki's label. At Miami as well. We went to Halifax, Toronto. He went to San Francisco, Washington. Look at North America. Just really Montreal, New City Gas, of course, because he just moved to Montreal, but he was in Toronto. And so basically, just really working all these shows, whether it's from distance or traveling with them, just being on the phone and emails and advancing. And
so when COVID starts happening, what are you guys doing to like transition?
So I think we really. We didn't stop. We obviously the biggest source of revenue in a lot of live entertainment, the live shows.
Right. Yeah.
So I think we never sat down and had a specific meeting. Okay, this is how we're going to change things. We just kept going as we go, but just try to get creative and find other sources of promo revenue. Something that helps a lot is creating streamable music. Not only music that you can digest at a live show, something you can also enjoy, whether you're on a walk in your car, on the radio, whether you're on a date, whatever it is, so that
like a more versatile sound.
Well, yeah, also just more user-friendly is the word. For people to really just consume it anywhere, so that they could consume it at festivals and live shows, but also when they're at home cleaning. And that's something, like I said, once again, I'm still not an expert, but that's something I do want to be. I do want to be an expert in it. So a lot of people, they go out and party. I stay in. I train my ear. I listen. Invest in myself.
What are your thoughts on like TikTok and Kitchenada just released a TikTok exclusive song?
So TikTok right now, I would say, dominate the Billboard charts. Billboard charts are mainly, for those who don't know, the charts of so whether you're streaming, whether you're on the radio, whether you're on YouTube, all those numbers pretty much portrays you on the Billboard charts, but hence TikTok also includes in that. But TikTok, it transforms and they convert in streams. So basically, whatever song is doing well on TikTok, everyone's going to go and stream it and stuff. Hence, boom, it's going to go #1 on Billboard. So like I said, it's dominating the charts right now. So yeah, I think what goes big on TikTok goes big outside of it.
But don't you find the reasons for it being big are different now? Versus on TikTok now, you're doing a dance trend, for example, or you could even play a specific sound as a joke for a comedic thing.
Yeah, and it's a challenge.
You know what I mean? It's not the same. It
started as a joke, but like I said, the numbers don't lie. It turns into reality.
But that's what I mean. Don't the numbers lie when it's a case where it's not being a sound is not being used for the original use of that sound anymore? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, but then some can argue what is the original use for that sound, because that's the beauty of music. You want to consume it the way you want it to be. So if you want to dance to it, you dance. If you want to just use it for your walks, cooking, it's up to anyone to use.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
And you know what? If anything, it's whether there's cringy TikTok content or not, look, it works. It's a win-win for two parties. A song does well on a challenge or something on TikTok, a lot of people are going to go stream it. It's going to do well. It's going to bring money and promotion to the artist, and then it gives content for the TikTok user. I'm not against it. It is what it is. Yeah, you got to play the game.
That's exactly, you got to be able to look at it that way for sure.
But if you think about it too, even if a TikTok song is kind of annoying and cringy and stuff, it's the ones that are big, they're not really bad. They're overplayed and they're overused, but think about it. None of them are awful. They wouldn't be good unless they're comedic. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
But they're all.
It's those songs that
catchy. It wouldn't. Like I said, the numbers don't lie. It wouldn't work if not.
It's those songs that are remixed, and half the song later turns into a nasty flute sound.
Yeah, I don't love that. I do find a lot of that's personally not. A lot of songs that you and me know will get remixes, and then those remixes get big on TikTok, and
Yeah.
then those dominate the playlist.
Yeah, how do you
charts.
track that? Like, how do you
Yeah,
track when that happens?
I don't love those, just because like it's just becoming a bit more oversaturated.
But who gets the credit in that case? Like the guy who remixed the song? Or-
No, a bit of both. Mainly the main artist though.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're doing a derivative work of an original.
Oh,
content,
okay, that's
yeah.
how it works.
So
Okay.
basically, he still gets, and you can.
But what's
get
the
a cut.
percentage that the guy remixed?
Oh, it's really case per case.
Oh, okay,
And, it depends. Because it depends if there's other parties involved too, labels, publishing,
Shit, that's so complicated to like track.
well,
all
it's
that
more simple than you think.
Yeah.
So picture a song. This is a song, and it's split in two entities: the songwriting aspect and then the sound recording. So what a publisher does is deals with all the sound, the
Songwriting?
the musical elements. So anything
Okay.
from the composition to the words, anything that's actually
Okay.
about the writing the song, and the sound recording, which is what labels are mostly in charge of, hence the master of the song. That's what I use a lot. So the pub and the master, they deal a lot with the sound recording and stuff. So that's how it's split into two, So a lot of people, they can just write, and then the artist performs it, the performing artist. So then royalties get split like that. And there's that's why there's a lot of money being made too, if you're writing for others, if you're just, yeah.
And like you were saying about streams, like it kind of saved the industry.
Yeah, because back in the 80s, the 90s, record sales were a very dominant thing. It was actually one of the only mediums to listen to music on a personal level. So think about it this way: even if you wanted to listen to that one song, you had to buy the whole album. You couldn't just go on iTunes and buy the single. So a lot of money was being made. The music industry was booming, and obviously Napster messed it all up, which you can say messed it all up, but all good things happen for a reason. Because it was a start. It slowly was the stepping stone to what we have now.
Napster was kind of like a
music.
door to that world, right?
Yeah, to a certain extent. Unfortunately, it was piracy, so there was no money involved, and it was more of a door to pirating music than those LimeWires and FrostWires. But like I said, the industry, what they said is, we have to play the game. This is what it is. So let's find a way to monetize on this and capitalize, and that's what they did with these streaming services. So just a couple of years ago is when we finally see the music industry having a positive sources of revenue for us to hopefully come back to what it was, or whatever it can be. We're doing everything from live sets, the classic, from green screens, and to, like I said, just pumping out a lot of good records, a lot of good streamable records, a lot of records that can be enjoyed by everyone to a certain extent in certain niches. Also, just a lot of creators are also still writing a lot now too. So make sure helping out our artists, connect them with other artists so they can write, and organize studio sessions, and whatever it can be, and just also just planning ahead, and really just building our business and our track record for us to be more resilient to situations like these.
That's a good way of looking at it, because now you have all this extra time or like more energy that you would usually split to focus more on one side.
Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. Me personally, I'm losing my shit. Because a big thing about me is like I'm that guy that's gonna sneak in backstage and meet that guy to get that relationship, where my partners, they're very more the traditional sense, phone call, emails, so personally I'm not enjoying this and having a bit of a harder time, but like I said, I have to adapt. It is what it is, there's no excuses. It might just be a slower process, but you got to keep going. So
what's like a driving factor in like your motivation? What do you look? Is there something that you have that would like ground you or like resets you whenever you like go off the rails?
Oh well, this definitely reset me. I used to go so fat. You know what? I think it's more of like I think I've learned to put myself first during this time. I used to be, because also being artist managers, we cater to other people. That's our job.
Right. Yeah.
So it's something we get lost sometimes, and it's okay. Like we love to do it, right? So I think something that really grounded me in everything is really just taking the time to slow down,
pause,
look at things in a bigger picture, improve your skill sets, improve yourself also, just mentally, emotionally, just really also thinking about we're all going through this. Your artists are still here, your management team is still here. Really just thinking like, okay, take this time for us to build for that when life comes back, you come back super strong.
Right.
But with that being said, we don't want to be dormant right now.
Yeah.
We want to work. We're working for Oh yeah, we're working.
I could see that you're super busy all the time. Like, even now, yeah.
Try to keep busy, you know. Also, but you know what? Used to a much more hectic schedule. A lot of this, you know, working on a lot of these shows and these festivals, crazy hours, all nights, and when you're touring different time zones, and it's just very. I think to a certain extent, the grass is also always greener. A lot of times when you're working late shows, I'm like, oh, I wish I can just be on my couch and do nothing. Right now, on my couch and doing nothing, I feel like the grandparents in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You know, they're bed rested. Now I'm like dying to be on a golf cart at a festival and yell at someone to get off the stage, like whatever it is, you know.
That's exactly. Like I feel like when everything does go back, we're gonna be way more in tune with that, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
And like remember like.
And I think it's also teaching us how to really, like, life really is about balance.
Yeah.
And I think this is also teaching us to really use that mindset in a tangible format.
Yeah. I mean, now that you're home all the time, working from home, like, because when you're out, you're moving, like time flies, because like you're doing something, you're doing something, you're doing something. Now that you're at home and you're still doing a bunch of things, but like the environment's staying the same.
Yeah, I'm also someone very personally. I like when I was at John Abbott, I used to always go to the cafeteria to do my schoolwork.
Okay.
I just needed ambiance, environment. I just needed other people working. So like, let's say, you know, I'm at my mom's house and my sister who's in med school, you know, she's there working. I'll go sit next to her and write some emails or do some research, whatever it is. I just need external,
sounds.
I wouldn't say external motivation, but external setting.
Like movement or like some kind of energy around you.
Yeah, some type of just like structure. That's just what really helps me personally. So, I mean, so I still see, I mean, I have my bubble with our artists, so I still go to studio sessions and really try to help out. So it hasn't been too bad. And with technology these days, you know, we're on FaceTime, Zoom. So, I mean, that just gives you at least a more personal level than just being on the phone all day. It helps. You know, a lot of times we're just all writing emails and we're just on FaceTime. We don't even talk. It's like if we're sitting next to each other.
Yeah, exactly. Like so in a virtual office.
A lot of that,
Where do you see yourself as like maybe even having your own family at this point and like your everyday waking up like, oh, I'm happy to do what I'm doing?
It's a super good question because part of me doesn't know, but part of me knows some stuff that I think I would like and not like. I think while I'm still relatively young, I do want to go full on out touring, whether it's our artists or other artists. I want to take advantage of my body, my energy, because it's something I'm really good at. I've proven myself many times, and it's something I love. So I think I'll always be good at it just because I love it and I care about it. So I really want to, when festivals, I want to get on the road as much as possible right now.
Do you think you'd be doing that for like as you age old?
I don't think I'd be able to a certain age. It's very hard on your body. It's sleepless nights. Your mind is constantly racing.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of very hectic. I've always tried my best to really put my foot in many different aspects, but eventually I do want to narrow it down to a specific niche.
And it's cool how like after that initial couple of times of just like look what you did when you just approached Tommy, and like when you put yourself in those situations, like you realize how simple it is almost to like.
People overthink it a lot.
Yeah, just to go for it, you know.
And you know what? I find also the people that overthink it, maybe it's just not for you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's really okay, you know. And people feel so much pressure to like, you know, it's okay. Like, I don't know. I get a lot of people asking me, you know, like how to be in the business, that, but you just gotta do it. And I wish I had a more concrete answer.
Yeah, it's hard to give advice, right? Because like you don't really have. There's no like actual like.
No, there isn't. Everyone's different. I do say this though. I say don't compare your journey to other people, but success leaves clues.
Do you have any random like superstitions that you do on like a daily basis, like some like random?
Yeah, of course. Especially when touring. Speaking of touring, I always have a beer before a flight.
Always?
Always. And it's funny because I actually I quit drinking.
Okay. But you're gonna have non-alcoholic beer now?
What?
Now you're gonna have non-alcoholic beer?
Yeah. Or you know, maybe that'll be my introduction. That'll be my cutoff, you know, the one beer for the flight.
Yeah, you don't have to completely cold turkey anything. It's all about balance. And like,
it's exactly. That's something that's, you know.
It's the discipline.
It's all about, like I said, it's all about finding the balance. And as we grow, you know, we find more.
Was there ever a time that you didn't have that beer, or you couldn't because you're like in a rush to get on the flight or something?
Oh yeah, of course.
And then what happened?
I knock on the plane.
Oh, okay. So you do
something.
You get that beer first, and then you figure it out.
I get that beer. I just always have a beer before the flight. Always. No matter what. I go to the bar, have a beer. I do believe in karma. So if you're
Okay.
mean to someone, or if you don't help someone purposely and you know you can, it's gonna come back to you. So I'm not saying to exhaust yourself for the well-being of someone else. I'm just saying, look, if you could give a piece of advice, or if you have a hand to lend, do it, because it can only be beneficial, and that's my number one superstition.
Just the karma aspect of it. Do you ever do you ever look at like a negative thing that happens to you and like relate it to something you might have done bad before?
Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to learn from our mistakes, right?
Right,
A lot
yeah.
of people say that one door closes, another one opens. I think that's the way you have to look at it, and you have to just be proactive for you to make those right steps for that next door to be positively open. At one of the festivals, couldn't remember whether it's Oshiaga or probably Oshiaga, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
And one of the days, I guess my main task was to kind of just cater to Celine Dion's son.
Was Celine Dion there? Or
No. Just basically like
What does he do?
So actually, he's very into the music as well. He's into hip hop,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure he wants to have potentially a career in rap. But
Okay.
I'm not an expert. I'm not his best friend or anything.
Have you heard his stuff?
No, not
Okay.
even. Actually, yeah, he showed me a bit. I think in a golf cart.
Okay.
We were just talking.
It's always the
about-
golf carts.
It's always the golf carts. But you know, I don't quote me on that. I don't remember. It was a few years ago. And then basically, I remember.
So your job right now is to just
pretty
like,
much just
cater
drive
him?
around, cater.
Okay,
What does he
okay.
want to do? You know.
Okay, cool.
So once again, the golf carts driving from stage to stage. I think he's with a friend or a girlfriend, and his big bouncer, and he just wants to see artists. And like I said, I knew he was very predominantly into hip hop because that's where he was making me drive to go see. And then specifically, there was Ski Mask, the Slum God. I never told this story to anyone, but there was Ski Mask, the Slum God, and he was a big fan, and he really wanted to go see him. So I said, no problem. We drive to the stage, and then he asks me, he's like, hey, I really want to like meet him. Do you think it's possible? I'm like, look, it's not up to me. I'll ask the stage manager, who I knew. Shout out to Ollie McGuire, best production manager at Evenco. I'm kidding, one of the best. You guys are all great. He was stage managing, and he basically said, look, it's not up to me, it's up to the Ski Mask's crew.
Right.
So then, I'm like, I don't want to ask this guy, Here I am, just like, these are.
You're not even trying to like use Celine
I'm not
Dion's
trying to get in
name?
anyone's people's way. This guy's literally performing, there's a huge crowd in front of him.
So it's while he's performing?
So I perform, but then I go ask his tour manager or security guard, his big motherfucker, and here I am like this, and I turn around and I'm like really nervous and shy, and I'm just like, hey sir, I'm with Celine. I'm with this kid here, Celine Dion's son. He'd really love to meet Ski Mask. And then he just goes, whoa, wait, what did you just say? He goes, Celine Dion's son? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, that's huge. And he goes, you wait right here. And I'm just waiting, and as soon as Ski Mask finished, he just drags me and then they just have like a talk, and I see them like dapping it up and stuff.
Did they know each other prior?
No, I guess Ski Mask is just a big Celine fan, and
shit.
it was just so starstruck that his son was there, and he's like, whoa, yes, no problem, I'd love to meet him. So it ended up
And the bouncer knew about this.
yeah, well, I had to ask the bouncer if it was okay, and then the roles got reversed. So yeah, just always silly stuff like that at festivals, and it's always a good time, and it's those moments that you live for,
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, you probably did not expect him to be like, hold on.
No. Yeah, I was expecting a fuck no, get out of my face.
Yeah.
He was like, wait, Celine Dion said that's huge.
You guys have any plans for like right now, anytime soon, of any new stuff coming out or anything?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just a bunch of new records. So, I mean, keep your eye out for anyone from DLMT, Sarah Diamond, Nate Husser, original productions from Jay Century, Chase Wave, Brody Miles, DJ Coco. He's killing it these days as well. Also, Montreal has such a good city to incubate talent. A lot of talent comes out of here.
Well, why? A lot of talent comes out of here, but why is Montreal not known for the talent that comes out of here?
Well, just off the bat, the language barrier gives us, we're one step behind just because of that.
Right.
So just naturally speaking, you're whether let's say you're an Anglophone rapper, most of the times your market is probably going to be outside of Montreal. So you can be from here, grow from here, rep Montreal, but just chase your consumer, your outside markets.
Right.
And that's not 100% of the times. But I think that's why there's a lot of misconception. There's a reason why the French artists, they're huge here.
Right.
It's just that off the bat, you know, is a complication. Well, no, it's not a complication. It's just different.
Right.
So I think a lot of talent comes here, and then what they do is they'll leave and come back, or at least that's a proven track record. But a lot of things in this industry, like you said, there's no straight path. There's no written rules. There's maybe some unwritten rules, but you know, it's anything can change, anything can happen. Yeah, I definitely think Montreal, we have some great talent here, and I think something in our company, we use that as well. Like, sure, we're predominantly operating a lot in Los Angeles now, but with that being said, a lot of our artists are still here. The studio sessions are held here just because there's so much talent here. And you know, there's also so much upcoming talent that I see that I know are going to do crazy well, you know. So, you know, like, keep your eyes out for Skyfall, Chloe Florence, Group Project, just like, and even our guys, you know, I mentioned Serena. Serena is one of ours, you know. He's got this great mix of Rufus du Sol, and he sings as well, electronic, but a bit of R&B in there, and it's amazing.
What's his name?
Serena.
Yeah,
it's amazing. He also co-produced Let It Fly by Travis Scott and Lil Wayne.
Oh shit.
So that was a big major placement that he got, and we're super proud of him for that. Always will be with that plaque, because I think it went number 7 on Billboard Hot 200. So
Right.
yeah, you'll see some royalty statements from that probably the rest of your life.
Thanks for coming, dude.
Yeah, it's my pleasure,
Appreciate
bro.
it. For sure, I'm down to have you on in the future. If you're
We'll
down
do
to
it.
come back.
Oh man, I'm sure I'll be a whole different person when
Yeah,
life opens back
I
up.
want to kind of document like.
Yeah, you can. I mean,
parts.
look, we can. If you want to do an episode just on show stories, like I have too
Oh,
many.
yeah.
Just believe in yourself. Keep going
What are you,
at
Gary
it.
Vee, bro?
Sacrifices. That's number one. You won't really make it anywhere unless you sacrifice certain things. So, for example, you know how many shows? There's been specific times where my squad and all, we've been to New City Gas, but I didn't go to New City Gas. I physically went, and I would just wait outside the backstage with a USB for hours. You know how many times I've done that? Wait outside a venue for an artist to come, for me to have a opportunity to talk to them.
Yeah.
I knew I was doing something right because there's no one else there.
Right.
And I always ended up having a chance. Not always, but you gotta just really try your best. Whatever happens in the movies, like, it's really like that. I mean,
you gotta just try everything.
Really put yourself out there. I mean, look, I quit the pizzeria job, one-way ticket to Amsterdam. Like, it's, you gotta take those risks, you know? And you gotta find comfortability in the uncomfortability.
Right.
If it's something that you really love. And
especially
it's,
nowadays.
Yeah, and if it's really something that's gonna bring you long-term happiness.
Yeah.
Focus on that. So that's a good send-off, I'd say.